Yo, what's up, everybody? Just burning a piece of wood in here real quick. So, you and I always love when people write in
and
ask
100%.
questions. Don't worry, I'll blow this out in a second.
I love it.
That or I just burn this entire studio down. Both of which are awesome options. Insurance payout. So,
burning down the house.
Burning down the house.
They have a good remix of that.
They got a remix of it?
Oh, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, you should.
Spotify.
So we love when people write in.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you guys have questions and you need it answered, that's what we're here for.
Well, it's beautiful because it's very practical.
Yeah.
And it's like problems that people are facing in their life, like right now. And so it's nice to be able to, for me, when somebody writes in,
yeah,
and then I do research on it, or I look it up, or maybe we've done the research before, and we have some information to give them. The learn, teach, learn happens.
It's the best.
I was reflecting on this morning a bunch, and I was like, oh, what are some of the mirrors or some of the triggers, emotional triggers I'm having in a relationship? And then what leads it to get to that point where there's a divorce or a breakup? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And it's like, am I walking down that road? Am I showing what does true love look like?
Correct.
You start doing all these self-aware questions. And so then you begin to learn. And then this email taught me.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
And so that's what's really cool is that you and I have produced so much content.
Mm-hmm.
But we really want to continue to help teach people. And the best way for us to teach is to meet you where you're at.
Yes, 100%.
So come and ask us questions.
Mm-hmm.
We're open, free to contact anytime you want.
Yeah, and then if we get a ton of them, we get one a day, something like that. But if we get a ton of them, we'll do whole episodes.
No problem.
Just Q&A
all day long.
I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm completely all in on it.
People can write in, and we'll do them. We'll do them live. I don't care. I love this. This is one of my favorite things.
I live for this.
Yeah.
So someone wrote in.
Yeah, someone wrote in. I thought this was interesting.
Thank you for writing in, by the way. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll keep you anonymous. But they talked about, they just started their spiritual evolving a few months ago. They had done those readings.
What readings?
It's like Akashic or Akashic.
Akashic.
I was close.
So this person went to they had an Akashic reading?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Okay, for those of you.
We'll do a podcast on this later, but for now.
Yeah. So let me give a material example. Early 70s, IBM was trying to figure out how to store information, essentially zeros and ones, right? Impulse, frequency. They needed to do it for computer storage before they created the floppy disk. So they found out that you could store things in crystals. And the first thing they stored was an image of the Mona Lisa, and then took it off like a week later, okay, off of a crystal. And they're like, oh shit, okay, we can create hard drives.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. Now, we all know here, and if you've been listening long enough, there's the material world, and then there's the immaterial, non-material world, one that's the spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Where do thoughts, things that are non-material, get stored? Where do these impulses get stored?
DNA.
Well, they could, if your DNA is light, which it is, okay? And then other aspects, all these people, all these planets, all this information has to get stored somewhere.
Right.
Where does it go? Boom, into this thing called the cosmic storage banks. It's storing impulses of information.
What wasn't there a tablet, like an old, like the Emerald tab or something like that? Some type of old tablet that talked about Samaritan writings or something that talked about this.
That's right, the Emerald tablet.
Yeah.
That is a thing that did exist. And there are many people for a long time who have been sensitive enough to be able to read these things called the Akashic Records, which is just a cosmic storage bank. It's a giant hard drive for all these impulses that are occurring. Simple, done. Okay, so next, keep going.
So, independent 39-year-old woman. And she's having an issue with the breakup, divorce with her partner.
She call herself independent?
Yeah, she said, I'm an independent 39-year-old woman.
Cool.
But I am afraid. So I want to kind of break this down because I like to go into details with the way that it's worded. And then, the thought, because usually people, like when they're typing an email and they're being sincere, you can see the wave of the thought process. She chose every word. Yes. And so, or her higher self chose every word.
Mm-hmm.
So she starts off, so much is going on in my life right now. So I would say right off the bat, do you have a lot of chaos in your life right now?
Yeah. What are the vectors of chaos?
It's like, let's look at you personally. Like, I'm going to use a word that's not really true, but let's be selfish right now. And let's solely focus on you.
Yeah, let's be introspective.
Yes. Intro.
I love that. Let's not look at these outside externalities,
right.
And these other catalysts that are
like this. That's an intro.
That's an intro.
Introspective.
We're being introspective.
Right.
Okay. Those are internal tones. Let's focus on the things internally with you. All the stuff on the outside, that's not what's framing your fear or anything else that's occurring, right? That's just shit which you're putting your focus on and not working on the self internally.
Well, because the ego, and this is something that is really important in this, and we'll get into this more. The ego always wants to focus on the past or the future. It cannot let you be present, because present is higher self.
Right.
So when you're present, you're not thinking like, oh my God, what will happen once I get a divorce? Or, well, I had this and then this happened financially. All this chaos that I presume is in your life right now, there's a reason. And when the first thing you have to do is take 100% responsibility
for everything. Because if those things are affecting you in some sort of way, you're letting them occur.
Because you're being a victim to your external circumstances. And we talked about this before the podcast about all the external. And then if you go inward and focus internally, or a lot of people use the word selfish, once you start doing that, then you can begin to heal. But you're not going to heal until you understand that you have all the power inside of you.
Yes.
And you already know the decision.
Yeah. And that chaos that's around you, if you created it, you can uncreate it.
Yes, 100%.
You've put yourself into these situations.
Yes.
You've chosen the relationships you want to be in, your life choices, everything you have mapped out since the day you began making choices for yourself.
Dude, that's so good. Because then this is, be responsible for the choices that you've made.
Absolutely.
You made those choices.
Yeah.
You put yourself in the shit show.
You don't have to be in fear of anything when you realize what your responsibility is.
Yeah. You manifested it.
Listen, if you're scared of the things you create, well, you also have the power to get rid of them. So de facto, you should have no fear over it. You were the creator of both of those circumstances.
Yes.
You have all the power in the world to end this nonsense, but fear is a state of illusion.
It's a state of illusion, 100%.
And it's inhibiting your ability to grow. It's inhibiting your ability to evolve out of the current state that you are in.
It's ego loves to use fear to keep you past our future thought process.
Not in the moment.
Yeah. And if we have neuroscientists say we have 70,000 thoughts and 98% of them are bad.
Yeah.
And most of our thoughts are the thoughts we thought yesterday, and they're just loops. That's insanity. You're just looping the same bad thought over and over and over again and dwelling on it.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
If something happened in the past, can you change it?
Nope.
Good. Fucking let it go.
Yeah.
And the things that are in the future, they haven't occurred yet, have they?
Yes.
So stop fucking worrying about it. Take care of right now, because the decision you're making right in this second is affecting the future directly. Your future can be changed by living in the moment.
It's present. It's just practicing present. There's no animosity in the present. Like in this very moment right now, there's nothing.
This episode's getting me amped up.
Well, we just got through the words, so much is going on in my life now. Here's next. I want to ask your advice or opinion regarding a breakup, divorce with a partner. And they said, I know I have all the answers inside of me. So we've said that enough.
They've obviously listened enough to our stuff. Okay.
But I am afraid to make this step. So this is so beautiful because you, by sharing this with us, this is going to help a lot of people right now. There are a ton of people that are in, and we all face this position where we're at, where we know the answer, but we don't want to walk off the cliff's edge.
Nope. They don't want to take the step.
The unknown is too much.
I think because there's been an attachment to the relationship, attachment to this identity. And think about it too. Like, people can also feel embarrassed. Oh, I spent some time with this person, right? Social stigmas, all that other stuff. You came together in a relationship to learn with one another.
Yes.
And from one another. Just like you asked us a question on here, in this relationship, you don't know us personally.
No.
But we're dialoguing, teaching and learning from one another.
Right.
And the relationship should do that. The relationship should push people to evolve. Some relationships don't do that. They stagnate. They create fear. There's an attachment of identity to this thing of being together.
You're going to have this if you walk the spiritual path.
Yeah.
You're going to have relationships that don't serve you anymore.
Yeah. And guess what? Be thankful for that. Thankful for the fact that this catalyst has showed up and you now have the opportunity to make this choice.
Yes.
A choice that's going to be fundamentally more beneficial for you. And you can review introspectively that level of independence in free will and learning and thank yourself and that partner that you're leaving
yes,
for the time and the learning you've had from them.
And you can have love for them that they taught you that.
Great.
It's like, whatever it is in your life, there's nothing bad.
No.
This is, if you're thinking like, oh my God, I'm a victim. This was such a horrific relationship and he did this to me and he did this to me and, or she did this or whatever it is. They, them did this, however it goes.
Again, none of those thoughts are taking responsibility.
No.
You chose to be in the relationship.
Yes.
You chose to spend this time. You chose to be a part of these catalysts. Now choose to be a part of what was bound to happen, which was the separation of these two entities, and learn what needed to be learned from it. Be thankful for this moment.
Well, I also think that there's a belief system that people have that if they step into the unknown, if they walk with their higher self, and what they genuinely know inside of themselves, that it's going to go bad. Which is funny. Because I want you to think about what I said. So, if I give in to my higher self,
okay,
and I don't fight my ego, it's going to go shitty.
You want to know? You want to know probably why? They've spent their whole life doing what is not them, making choices that weren't truly them.
Yes.
And now they're faced with this moment like this is going to be almost like this upheaval, this unraveling of what hasn't been me, this fucking dark shroud. And I can remove these things and truly become who I'm supposed to be. But all of that identity, all of those choices, all of these paths that I've chosen weren't really in my alignment, but I was forcing and pushing these things to occur, but it wasn't working out.
100%.
And now you're scared because you were moving in a direction that is far more honest with what is needed. And be thankful for it.
But don't you think that the step that you're supposed to take now, your higher self knows that that's the right step to take, and you're just in your 49 or 39-year-old ego?
Add 10 minus 11 plus 1.
Yeah, add 10 minus 11 plus 1. I love it. But being 39 years is what your ego is saying of all these past triggers compared to your higher self, and this is the step I need to go. Because there's a lot of people that need to experience a divorce or I did.
Yep.
But I know I needed to experience that catalyst so that I could be at a position where I could learn. That relationship did not serve me anymore. Nothing against them.
Nope. It's just what it was.
It's just what it is. Yeah.
It's like not enough calories here in this meal. I need to find something more calorie dense. By the way, just to be fucking clear on this, the woman who has written in, why did you write in? You already know what you need to do. You're writing to us to reaffirm something you've thought about, but you're scared to take the step.
Yeah, that's basically what a lot of learn, teach, learn is, just a hearing it from a different voice or a reaffirmation.
I want you hearing us right now to reaffirm to yourself that you wrote the email and you already know what the answer is. Don't take a duplicated step.
Yes.
Be secure in your thoughts and ideas and choices.
Well, people do that. They will literally set for years and not make a decision, but they'll gain all the knowledge about the decision. They'll read books on the decision.
Sure.
They'll tell their friends and family about the decision.
Yeah.
But they'll never make the decision.
I just hope that this is the last time this person writes in about this.
Yeah, exactly.
And I say that because they already knew what the answer was, and we're going to tell you, we're going to remind, but you already know.
Well, she says this, I need to make the next step to tell it straight to my partner and to get all papers done officially. Get all the paperwork done. Yeah.
It's fucking paperwork.
Paperwork has no emotion to it.
No, there's nothing to it. Sign the damn thing. Why? You holding on to something that is not allowing you to evolve or not allowing yourself to evolve, you are doing a greater disservice. You're also doing a disservice to that other person. You know that there has to be a separation of these energies and the paths of probability. Let it occur.
Yes.
Do not drag this thing on. End it and take the next fucking step. By the way, no one's going to judge you. No one's going to say you're a bad person for doing it. I would actually commend you.
Well, most people that are walking around unconscious in their own matrix don't really care.
No.
You may get a statement like, "Oh my gosh, can't believe she's divorced."
Do you know what this reminds
But
me?
they're on to the next thing.
You know what this reminds me of? Oh, I don't want to wear that bathing suit to the beach. People are going to see me. No one knows who the fuck you are.
They don't even care. They're not going to be like, "Oh my god, you see that lady with a little bit of like."
Yeah, or that guy
Jason with like a little bit of a
Jason's got like a Milwaukee tumor on him. Like, oh my god, no one cares.
No one.
And I'm not saying that to be cruel. Do it because you're doing it for you, not what other people think. Do not drag it on. Do not be fearful of what is next. The greatest part about life is the unknown. It's the journey moving forward. But if you take these moments, think about them, live in them, it will frame your future to be the most evolutive, the most challenging, the most learning and fruitful future you could ever ask for.
100%. Well, I think what she says here, tell it straight to my partner. And I don't want to get into this because I think it's very important. When you get into the egoic, reptilian, monkey mindset, you begin to tell lies.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not, because she says, tell it straight to my partner. So I guarantee you're saying stuff to him, if you're still communicating with him, that's not straight. That's not truthful.
How come you were never speaking straight?
Fear will always cause you to go in a direction of where you're not being truthful.
Yep. And here's an interesting thought. When you're lying, your subconscious knows the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You're inhibiting your internal evolution through that lie. And you're inhibiting their evolution from learning.
Yes.
You're driving them down a false path. What's with that? Be responsible. Talk straight to people. That's where the value comes from. Yeah. And who knows what your partner will learn from this? Yeah.
And who cares about, it's all man-made, the paperwork anyways. Marriage and man-made. And
lawyers and all the fucking bullshit.
Who cares about any of that
Sign the stuff.
So, and then she talks about how to deal with the fears. We talked about that. And then she says, if it will be a mistake to get a divorce.
Why is it a mistake?
So I think this is really important. How people get when they get fear-based, not only are they telling lies, but then they begin to question the truth. Yep. Because you're living a lie. And like you said, your higher self, to me, it's like, I always think of like the garden hose with the ice in it.
Yeah,
the flow, you know, if you've had that and I've had that, you know, it's like, I'm going to go hook it up the hot water heater so I could get the hot water in there to get it to melt.
Just watering my plants in winter.
I always think of that frozen water. It's not necessarily bad. It's just a different type of water. And I don't want to get too technical in that. But that flow that I need from my higher self, a lie, fear, worry, guilt, I'm not good enough, all those things that I deal with, depression, that's that ice in the hose.
Yes.
When I can learn to take that and use it as a catalyst, as a lesson, then it turns into hot water and the flow begins to happen. And I'm in touch with my higher self.
Absolutely.
Because your higher self has the answer.
Yeah.
And you questioning whether it's right or wrong, or you don't need to, you got to stop getting into the questioning and calm yourself down, get into the present moment and ask your higher self. I do this all the time. I mean, before we have a meeting with Tartle, I have like a little prayer where I invite my higher self in and I want to speak to the other person's higher self, because I did this with the podcast and everything else. I want soul to soul action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Who cares about the monkey mind?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. And look, you're always going to have emotions for people because you spent time with them. It's a natural occurrence. But recognize the value in the time that was spent. And if it's not working, if it's inhibiting, if it's oppressive to the free will, if it creates states of fear, if it makes you feel like there are social stigmas, if you don't talk straight, the relationship is not defined on good bounds and it's not going to evolve for either party. Simple. Move on. Your life is long.
But I want to be honest with them because she said this and I think it's because if I'll make a mistake when I give it and then my life will be worse. Sometimes you saying the truth will make your life so-called worse. Whether we know the story's true or not, I don't know, but Jesus was put on a cross. So let's go with the story.
The truth is at all times unpopular.
Yes.
But guess what?
Your life may get so-called worse.
Yeah. The truth can bring you very strong, difficult catalysts, but it's a life you are choosing to learn the straightest and most narrow path to become the best possible human being.
Because if you're viewing all of life for comfort, and I don't want to make this decision because I don't want bad things to happen to me. I don't want to not have money. I don't want to not have, I don't want my kids to be mad at me. I don't want to go through a divorce and the stigma of that. If you're living comfort all the time, that's just pure ego.
That's all it is.
You might as well go to Krispy Kreme donuts and just slam 2 dozen.
All you need is a flat surface on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Your arm is a pillow and some shelter above your head. You will always find food. There will always be people to help, and you will never lose your identity. All of your strength, everything you need for provision and nourishment is going to come from you internally. And all the other things in the material world, when you start making these choices that are truly the best ones to make, difficult things will arise, but there will be great, great pay in emotional, physical, and non-material senses that come back to you.
And I like this part. This is cool. You're going to like this. Like she says, I don't even feel the same way about this guy anymore. We don't even live together. I thought this was cool because we work on different yachts. So they're both sailors. Mm-hmm. So you're not even living with the person.
Yeah.
So you've already gone past the point. Your higher self's already gone past the point where you don't even want to live with it. If you can't stand the person that you're living with,
and you have to go on separate yachts.
that's a. Come on. I mean, I don't mean to laugh like that, but it's almost a lot of times, and I do this with me, I'll start laughing at my stupidness in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I do it. It's like the other day I was thinking about something. I was like, why are you feeling stressed? Oh, self-pity. It's so silly, Jason.
Yeah.
It's literally silly that you have this self-pity right now. You know what I mean? It's
for
like,
what? It doesn't do any good.
Yeah.
It does nothing for you.
Yeah.
So guess what? If you're on separate yachts, send a fucking message in a bottle with the paperwork over to him and his yacht and have him sign it.
That's it. He'll get the message.
He'll get it.
Why do you feel like you need to explain anything to him?
Your life, you're already physically sailing different paths in the ocean.
Here's the problem, though. And I would want you to ask this self-aware question. She says, because I already fell in love with another man who actually loves me too. But here's the thing I see, especially when it comes to the feminine side of things. It's that, and I understand evolutionary psychology plays a role in this, because it's security and all that stuff. And then we have this whole world of male patriarchal and, if a woman's cast out the tribe. And so you always want to grab towards something else. And then once you get that security externally, then you want to end the other. So this happens a lot in relationships. Like they already, will have an affair or something, both sides.
Yeah, because they can jump ship, no pun intended,
right,
with safety over to the next cohort.
And that's not a lesson you're going to learn.
No.
You started this dishonestly.
Yeah. So
in the new relationship, you started dishonest.
That's why it's so hard for you to talk straight now, because it hasn't been honest up to this point. Neither with emotions nor conversation, because it would have never gotten to this moment if both of the parties were straight with one another.
So I would question, and I'm going to say this for everybody, not just this relationship, but you need to, and we're going to do a whole podcast and a couple on the creational law of love. Mm-hmm. What most people view as love is wrong.
It's completely wrong.
90% of what you're viewing as love is probably wrong.
I'd say probably 99% of people on the planet view it that way.
And what you view that you need in a relationship, that's the questions I'd like to ask you is like, what made you not love this person and fall in love with this other person?
Yeah.
And most of the time it's you didn't meet an external need that I can't fill for myself, but I need, here's a list. I have this, psychoneurotic checklist and, you didn't fill this one today, or you didn't do this. Love is two complete whole people coming together in their higher selves
in perfect understanding
that don't need each other.
That's correct.
I don't need
sovereign, independent, but choose to be together,
right?
To evolve in a state of unity, but completely respecting of the other person's free will and choices.
100%.
With no attachment, identity, or ego. By the way,
those are important: attachment, identity, and ego.
Yeah,
that's not love.
This new person you're with, that you've fallen in love with, you can never be in the moment with them if you are still thinking about this other person, which you are attached to through this material idea, emotion, or some sort of
there's tons of baggage. And then, did you both trauma bond? Was he going through some issues too? And then you guys wound up on the same yacht.
Yeah.
And then now, all I see this all the time with trauma bonding. And then after you get done with this and you get your divorce and everything's good, then there's no interest anymore.
Yeah, what's with that?
Because the only interest you guys had, and the only reason you were together is because both of you were hurt. So hurt attracts hurt, because we attract the things in our life. We're great manifestors.
Mhm.
We can manifest anything.
Pure choice, baby.
And then now, once all that hurt goes away, then you need to find another person that's hurting in a different way. So you just jump from relationship to relationship to relationship.
So if you really truly love this new person, be in the moment with them and end the relationship with the other person in the material. And by the way, love that other person that you were with and love them by ending it. Do not drag this on. It's doing, now there's 3 people it's doing a disservice to. You
with the dishonesty.
And these 2 other gentlemen.
But this is the beautiful part. You don't need to fear because you have all the power within you. You need to summon that higher self, be in flow with that, whether you need to meditate, whether you need to just, you have a perfect place to meditate.
You're on the ocean all day. Ocean, you should be feeling flow 24/7.
and get those storms out of your life and get this, this flow going, whatever spiritual practice you need to do, affirmations, meditation, whatever it is, eating clean, all these different things you can do. Get into that. Start working on yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, get your body, where you're at a 10, spiritually, emotionally, physically, all these areas.
Love it.
And I guarantee you the answers will be there and the fear will go away.
Yes.
Every time.
Every single time it will. That's a fact.
And you have that power in you.
Yeah.
You're not a victim to anything.
No, you're just choosing not to do it. All through choice.
All through choice. Yeah.
Use the fucking Starlink on the yacht, sign the paperwork, send it over via DocuSign, be done.
Be done.
All right. And thank you very much for writing into Higher Density Living. And anybody else who wants to have some questions and pose it to us and needs some affirmation and something, we'll be happy to talk.
Yeah, you can do Jason at higherdensityLiving.com or Alex at higherdensityLiving.com.
100%. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.